I'll do these normal things and I'll go out to eat and sit there and talk about nothing. And, I did it for a while to fit in, but it's like, to me, that kind of stuff makes me want to die. I love nothing more than
makes him want to die. Going out to eat, going to concerts makes him want to die. Jesus Christ. I wonder if he's happy. When people want their business to grow, it's usually for their own like financial security, right? But like MrBeast had the financial security like 10 years ago. He could have just quit. Well, not 10 years ago, like 5 years ago, right? He could have quit then and had like $100 million and just been done, right? But he doesn't do that. Like I was listening to this really interesting conversation he had with JSchlatt, which actually happened right before the controversy, where he talks about like, and I think he was being honest in this, honestly. He talks about like his motivations and what he likes doing. Fuck, I can't seem to find it. We might have to just listen to this in its entirety. There is this really interesting clip from here though. We might have to listen to this.
9 to 5 for years and years. How's it going, boys? My name is Schlatt, and welcome back to the Weekly Slap. Welcome back to Inbox, the show that's about me taking your questions and answering them. Lucky for us, we've got the man with the answers. MrBeast is here.
why not Dr.
Beast?
Phil?
Dr. Phil? What?
Well, wouldn't he be better for this than me?
Dude, you just became the most subscribed YouTube channel out there. Bigger number, better person, better advice.
Yep.
This is from June 14th, 2024. So not even that long ago, like kind of right before the controversy went down.
Bigger penis.
Well, we'll
It
compare.
correlates.
We can compare after this, but hey, I've got some questions.
Okay.
I
Is
gotta be
this like
honest with you.
just mail time with Mud? What was
Yeah,
it?
this is Mail Monday.
Mail
with
Monday.
Woody's
Yeah, that's
Game
right. I
Day.
used to watch that growing up.
Yep, except I am not giving kids advice on how to have sex.
I was literally about to say, Mail Monday is where I learned what a condom was. Woody's gamer tag taught 12-year-old Jimmy what that was.
First one, I'm just going to read it out. On the Padilla show, you said you were part of the first generation of YouTubers who grew up watching YouTube. And I think you're a part of this too. How old are you?
26 now.
Yeah. Who are the YouTubers that inspired you the most growing up? What do you miss about old YouTube? And finally, since you're only in it for the money, what will you do once the money dries up? Thanks, dude. One day I hope I'm as big as you.
Like, as big as your sub count or as big as, like...
Probably.
That is kind of an interesting thing, like the generation that grew up watching YouTube, because with the first generation of YouTubers, there was no, like with Philip DeFranco, Smosh, people like that, there was no like YouTube content before them. Like they were the first gen, right? So like you couldn't grow up watching YouTube. All the stuff they made was inspired by like movies, by music, by, skits they saw, like fucking Jackass, stuff like that, right? Like Shane Dawson. All those guys, their early stuff was just like inspired by stuff they watched on TV, right? And that's reflected in the content, right? Most of the biggest Smosh videos are like parodying, Assassin's Creed or parodying Pokemon in real life, stuff like that, right? But that's really changed now, Like I grew up watching a lot of traditional media, but I also watched a lot of YouTube, like a ton of YouTube growing up. That's the majority of what I watched growing up was YouTube. So I feel like I'm part of that like generation that grew up watching YouTube rather than, getting in early because I was just too young. I couldn't have been.
Wait. He's
Yeah.
probably talking about my waist
Well, I
size.
mean, you can just, eat a lot of candy. That one's easy.
Okay.
Bro can't stop himself from promoting Feastables at every second.
Yeah, eat some candy, have some Feastables, or maybe not.
I mean, it's good. You should.
good.
Yeah, the peanut butter one, I like it.
He just can't stop himself, bro. He literally can't stop himself.
What was the
Okay.
first one? From the top.
From the top, who are the YouTubers that inspired you the most growing up? Did you start watching YouTube with Call of Duty? How did it start?
100%. It's literally probably the same as you. I started playing Call of Duty. I was like, yo, I want to watch other people play COD.
Exactly.
Got on YouTube and I see White Boy 7 Streak is just hitting the world's fastest
The
nuke.
host with the most?
Yeah, he's hitting world record nukes. I'm like, yo, that's cool. I see, and then obviously Woody. I watched a ton of Woody.
That's so weird. The biggest YouTuber in the world started watching COD videos. It was watching Woody's gamer tag. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Because now his content is completely different from that. He does nothing related to gaming, literally nothing. I guess he has like the MrBeast gaming platform, but that's just like Chris Tyson being like, oh my God, I love this lolly game,
Yeah, Mail Monday was good. Woody's actually a lot of things. As I said earlier,
his old content was pretty much COD commentaries. Yeah, well, even I remember back in the day, like when I was watching commentary videos, he would be friends with a lot of those guys. Like he was on the Hot Wet Soup podcast back in like 2017 with like Leon Lush and Bionic Pig and Elvis the Alien. He was on with all of them. I mean, one of those clips didn't age very well and was talked about since then, but he was back then he was with them. And even I think Leon Lush has appeared in a bunch of MrBeast videos, obviously pre-controversy, but he was in a bunch of them because like MrBeast maintained his friendships with those people. He kind of came from like the COD commentary community in the early days of his channel. That's what he was doing. He was watching Woody's gamer tag. It's so fascinating.
He's the first person to tell me what a condom was. That was interesting. I also remember he one time did a mail. It wasn't even Mail Monday. It was just a video where he's sitting at his desk and he's like, "Here's my investment portfolio." And,
I remember that one, dude.
And the little kid me is like,
yes.
"Okay, what's investing?" And he's like, "I'm a millionaire because I invested money and it compounded." And I was like, "What's compounding?" And Woody's like, "Hey, here's what compounding is, you little shits."
Yeah.
And so I learned what compounding was.
Yep.
I learned investing. I learned what a business was, a condom, all.
Bro, some of the best videos when Leafy came back were not, like when he came back to YouTube before he got banned, his best content was not the Pokemon videos. His best content was the random shitter videos he would make about how he invested his money. Those were the best videos he made. He made this one video, I remember, that was like a scary story time video. I think this was after he got banned. He made like a new channel and then it got deleted, but he told some story about how his accountant like made a miscalculation, then the IRS showed up at his house and how scared he was. That was so interesting. You know, that kind of content is so, when a YouTuber that traditionally does like one kind of thing, like just talks about their life and some other like interests they have that they're really passionate about, that's really interesting. How did he get banned? I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I think officially the thing probably that got him banned was he had this animation of, I think, Ethan Klein getting killed in one of his videos. I think that's what got him banned, but yeah.
All from the same man. It was pretty
He
crazy.
was well-rounded, dude. He hit a lot of important subjects for 13-year-olds back in the day.
I know.
I always feel like I'm not worthy to kind of fill those shoes when I come on this channel, because that was a dude who had a family, and he had worked, you know, like a corporate 9-to-5 for years and years and years, and somehow just kind of stumbled in. And here I am, and here you are in a lot of ways. Like, we grew up being like, what Woody is doing is like the coolest thing ever, and that's all I want. And so that's why I get a little bit of anxiety when it comes to like recording one of these, because it's like, well, who the fuck am I to...
Think of all.
That's how I feel too. Like when people ask me life advice, I feel like some of the only thing I'm really qualified to give advice on is YouTube, because I didn't really have a life before YouTube. My whole life has been on YouTube. You can watch me grow up on the internet in real time. You know, you can see my best and worst moments for the most part on YouTube, you know? I mean, obviously there's like, you know, I don't publicize my entire private life, but you know, you can kind of see my development as a character on YouTube, but like, you know, sometimes I feel like kind of a phony because I never had to get, you know, like a lot of the guys I grew up watching on YouTube had real jobs and then they got to do YouTube after that, you know? I never had that. I had like jobs in high school, and, you know, they were part-time jobs though, right? So I had part-time jobs in high school. I went to college. I didn't have a job then. I was just doing YouTube, and then I dropped out of college to do YouTube, and now that's what I'm doing, you know? So like, I feel like the thing I have, you know, qualification to talk about is really just YouTube, and that might be it. Tom, how should I do my taxes knowing there's nothing saying by law you have to pay income tax? Just don't. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Anna Wild, thanks for becoming a member.
All the little us's now listening to this.
Exactly.
We're the Woodies.
Exactly. The second generation.
You're the Woody. I'm the gamer tag.
Wow. Write that down, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like college was a waste of time? No, I'm glad I went. Because I saw what, you know, life could have been if I hadn't done YouTube, you know? I'm glad I went. I wouldn't say that like, I wouldn't say that I regret it. I don't think I really regret anything, you know? It was all a stepping stone to get where I am now. You know, I'm glad I went for the time I did, but I also am glad that I dropped out when I did, you know? I did a year and a half of college when I dropped out, because I was just making enough money. I'd saved up like, how much did I say? Maybe like 70 grand or something I'd saved up. And I was like, all right, I'm just dropping out, because with this money I can pay for rent for a few years. I can figure it out. If I drop out, I can like deal with it, you know? You know, that last semester of college was like fucking just brutal. I didn't give a fuck about college at all. I just stopped going to class, took a bunch of Adderall, sat on my computer and made videos. That's it. That's all I did. So yeah, I mean, you know, I don't regret going. I think it was a good experience for me to see that college, at least for what I was going for, I think was worthless. I think college can be valid. You know, education isn't a bad thing, but for what I was going for, it was kind of a scam, honestly. But yeah, I just stacked paper. I saved up money. I had no expenses at the time, so saved it all up, dropped out.
Yeah, well, to all you little shits listening, you are who you hang out with. Just find friend groups that actually make you better, push you to be whatever you want to be. If it's a musician or an engineer or anything, like, you are who you surround yourself with. Just remember that, and that's like really the 20% that.
Was the Adderall era when you went schizo on YouTube? I don't think I ever really went schizo on YouTube. I think there's only like one video I made where you can kind of tell, because I think I was coming down at the time after a nice little binge. Wouldn't recommend doing that, but if I want to see if I can find it. There was one video I made that was totally just like, at least I had the foresight to not make a serious video when this was happening. It was like a parody video. It was like years ago, 3 years ago probably. All the dopamine from my brain was fucking gone in this one video I made. Let me see if I can find it. It was called like YouTube Drama News or something. Fuck, I posted so many videos to this fucking channel. Maybe I gotta look in the playlist. I think it's in the playlist called Keck. It's still there. Here we go. I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, this video. This video, I think I was coming down from Adderall at 2 a.m. and I made this video. When was this? This was November 30th, 2021. Yeah, this is like right when I dropped out, or right as I was about to drop out, I think. Yeah.
Ready, aim, fire.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Breaking YouTube News. This is the #1 source for breaking news on YouTube. As always, I have some really good news and some bad news for you guys that I'm gonna
I think I genuinely just felt like shit when I was recording this.
be sharing today as the host of the news, and today I'm going to be giving you guys some more of the news. I want to yank my eyes
I was just like, fuck, I can't sleep. I have to communicate something to the world, so I made this cancer video. You sound dead. I was dead. Nice nuts, thanks.
out of my sockets and stomp on them. So first news of the day, YouTube host and organized crime affiliate and also professional disc jockey Daniel Killer Keemstar has officially passed away this Sunday. Dan was replacing DJ Lethal at the local Limp Bizkit concert going on. Very big turnout, by the way. Congrats, Fred, on the...
Yeah, this is what was happening to me. You can tell that video for sure. Curious how bad you were abusing it. I was actually taking Vyvanse, I guess, which is different. Vyvanse and XR milligrams a day. I don't actually remember. I want to say like I'd take like a 30 and then half of another one, so like 45, which I think is pretty high. I think that's the amount. I don't totally remember.
It'd get you 80% of the way there, in my opinion.
Fair.
Like, if you hung around Schlatt, and you hung around me, and you hung around, 3 other big YouTubers every day for the next 2 years, like, the probability of you becoming a YouTuber goes up exponentially.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you don't have access to people like us, but, if you wanted to be an engineer and you hang around 4 other people that want to be engineers, and the probability of you becoming an engineer goes up exponentially. It's literally that simple. I think, like, even if, like, you want to be healthier or anything, yes, you need to, like, study it and focus on this, or if you want to work out more, go to the gym. But one of the best things is just an accountability partner. Find 3 friends that work out. Next thing you know, you're hanging out and they're like, hey, I'm going to go lift. Do you want to come? And it doesn't require you to have willpower. Your friends are just doing it, and you're like, oh, I'll go do it with them,
True. That is good life advice for sure. I can speak on this. Surround yourself with cool, successful people who are trying to get their bag, okay? Who are healthy, who are trying to get their swag up, and you will become like them very easily. It will happen. It will happen, bro. If you're hanging around a bunch of losers, why would you not be a loser,
Well, don't hang with me because you'll probably become an alcoholic.
Based.
I mean, if you want to be an alcoholic, there you go. He's got
I'm
you.
your guy.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. All right, let's hit the second one. What do you miss about old YouTube?
What do I miss about old YouTube?
The 5-star system,
Oh.
video replies with that girl. Remember the girl with the huge tits and the mole?
Oh,
right
yeah,
on?
the blonde and
Yeah.
there's 2 of them. Yeah.
There were 2.
What do I miss? I don't know, man.
MrBeast, like, is it crazy to say that he changed YouTube? I feel like he did change YouTube in a really fundamental way, Like, I think the stuff that he was doing showed people, once again, I don't want to go out here and glaze him too much, You can glaze him for his work ethic, I'll say that. And, just the accomplishments he's reached. There's a lot of bad stuff, too. But, realistically, like, the heights this guy reached are crazy. And I think he kind of showed that, like, YouTube now is really, if you want it to be, it can just be a business, Because I think previous to him, the concept of a YouTuber was, like, a guy, like me, sitting in his room, talking to a microphone. And now literally everybody on YouTube's got a team. Now everybody on YouTube has a team. Fucking everyone has a team, And that, I think that was kind of pioneered by him a little bit, He just kept growing his team more and more and more. He has like the most extreme example. Like the biggest YouTuber in the world prior to MrBeast was PewDiePie. And PewDiePie was one guy in his room just talking to his mic. I mean, he had one, guy who worked for him, right? He had one editor. But now that's like, you have one editor. What the fuck are you doing, Like now it's completely different. You know, you're almost expected. Like it's expected that the most popular people on YouTube are going to have 30 people working for them in some office building. It's completely different.
Kind of like current YouTube for the most part. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, I look back and things seem simpler at the first glance back.
Easily.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, my life was simpler. I wasn't doing like...
It is so much simpler back then. Like it was just talking to a microphone, you know, people just like trying to be heard, you know. The idea of making money from YouTube wasn't really a thing. It was more, you know, like just like a very I guess honest. It was more introspective, you know. It was more low key. Those are the biggest guys on YouTube. Now that's not the case at all. Now the biggest people on YouTube all have the biggest businesses in the world, you know. And you can still succeed on YouTube being more personable. You can do it, but like that's not, you know, the standard now. The biggest people in the world are not just like PewDiePie playing video games, you know. That'll never be the case again too. I don't think it'll ever be the case.
Like multi-million-dollar productions and all this stuff. But
like YouTube is much more corporate now because there's so much money to be made. Why wouldn't it be?
But also, like if here's the problem. You think back on things and they always seem better. The grass is always greener on the other side. But then if you triple click deeper, you're like, well, actually it wasn't as good as I think. And so I'm like, yeah, being a small YouTuber was like...
Yeah, man, the most high budget shit was epic rap battles back then. Having a green screen was like high budget. Having a green screen was considered high budget. And now, like high budget on YouTube is like what MrBeast does, where he spends $500,000 minimum per video, right? Like that's just how it is. Imagine the kids in the future who are going to say they wish they could experience this era. It always happens. People romanticize the past. Yeah, of course. I mean, people always have rose-tinted glasses, right? People will be like, oh, I miss the old YouTube, you know? People always romanticize the past. I mean, people will be like, music was so much better in the 70s and 80s and 90s. You know, people say this shit, and it's like, well, you can only really say that if you didn't live through it, though. You know, there was a lot of trash content being posted on early YouTube. Like so much. Most of it was trash. You only remember the good stuff because it aged well. You remember the people you really connected with, you know? It wasn't. You just don't remember the trash because you weren't alive for it. The majority of music and art at any point in time is fucking shit. It's fucking shit. Total trash. You just only remember the really good stuff. You only remember the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. You don't remember all the fucking trash pop songs that came out. It was not objectively better at all. Not true. Most music and art during every time period is bad. It just is. It doesn't age well. Product of its time. It's bad.
Awesome. But if I like really zoom in, I'm like, oh, I couldn't afford a phone. Some nights would like literally cry because I was questioning if I was wasting my life. Yeah. You know, everyone would bully me for being a freak. Yeah, I didn't fit in. And blah, I could go on and on. But when you first think back, you don't think of all that. You're just like, oh, yeah, it was just like, yeah. So
think about when you were hungry.
Yeah.
You know, that's really...
I like to imagine MrBeast being bullied. That's a funny thought.
And so, like, that's with all these old YouTube things, it's like, oh, yeah, the 5-star system was great. But then I'd triple click and I remember, oh, well, you could just, you know, bomb videos with 1 stars and then they would get depromoted and stop getting views. And it was like, well, that wasn't fair.
I think if I had to throw my hat in the ring, it would just be that all you really needed was like a Hop Hog capture card.
Yep.
And like you were just the guy. And
wait, was Hodgepog like that? What was this? The thing that looked like this with the silver top and the black box? That's what I used.
Hop-Hog, HD PVR, or there was a Black Magic one.
No, I used an HD PVR.
Yeah,
whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, that's the one I had too, man.
Yeah. I remember that thing sitting on my fucking Xbox.
And that's kind of all you needed to get started. Yeah. And now, you know, everyone and their mother is.
Yeah, it's the number one job coveted by kids in America. If you ask 10 random kids, you know, half of them would say YouTuber.
I want to be.
That is true. That is really true. I mean, I think a lot of that, the reason that's kind of changed is because like 10 years ago, people would probably say like actor, movie star. People say influencer now because being a quote unquote influencer / YouTuber is much more accessible. You know, with Hollywood, there's all this gatekeeping, a lot of it's nepotism. Like I'm sure half the actors that are famous in Hollywood, you know, are related to some famous director or something somehow related to the industry or had money growing up, right? Because that stuff helps you. But on YouTube, a lot of it is just like if you have, you know, an internet connection, you can potentially grow a huge business from it, right? You can become whatever you want. The barrier for entry is so low. I think that might change with time a little bit. You know, as budgets become higher and higher on videos. Like if you want to achieve the level of success MrBeast has off the rip, you're going to need money, obviously, right? You can still do it. You can still get to that level slowly over time. But yeah, you know, I see a lot of people say things like, MrBeast is a plant. You know, there's secret money behind him. How'd he blow up so fast? And it's like, you can literally watch the entire history of his YouTube channel. You can tell he did do it himself. You know, he did. Also, when you're a YouTuber, you get to more or less play the game on your own terms. You don't need an agent or manager or whatever, unless you're aiming to be pretty high up. Yeah, true. But people think there's like some shadow government that's like paying for YouTubers to exist. I mean, for certain like celebrity YouTube channels, obviously there's money behind them, right? But the majority of YouTubers that blow up, like they just, started making videos and made money from it and reinvested it and became big,
Yes.
I mean, it's a fun job.
It actually leads us right into the next question, I think. What do you see yourself doing after this?
After YouTube?
Yeah. Do
Hopefully.
you see anything
No,
after that? Is
I was
this kind of it?
I'm doing YouTube forever, man. I mean, I'm doing lots of stuff like with Feastables and we have other projects, but like I don't see why it has to be an either or. I'm planning on doing YouTube till I die.
Yeah. Do you see it as like I'm going to run this business until I die, or is it more so just the love of YouTube that you're going to...
Well, I think it's no secret. I enjoy.
I feel as if the huge issue is it feels like up-and-coming channels never exist anymore. It feels like nowadays it takes years to even begin to make a dime. I don't think that's true, though. I don't think that's true at all. There's plenty of up-and-coming channels I've seen that I'm subscribed to that have like 20, 30K subs that are starting to blow up right now. I don't think that's the case at all. Your recommended might not have a lot of that stuff in it, but that is definitely the case. Your recommended is probably just catered to like, pre-existing older channels because that's what you've been watching for a long time. There's plenty of channels I see that start getting a little bit of traction that have blown up in the past like year or two. They totally exist 1000%. I don't think that's the case at all.
Building companies. It's a lot of fun. Like we have hundreds of employees now, but I don't think it has to be an either or. Like
name three. Big Bungie, Cam Nuggets, and Quinn Theo are three commentary channels that have really only gotten any attention in the past year and have gone from like 0 to like, Big Bungie's got like 70K, I think. Despite how edgy he is, he's got, quite a bit. YouTube hasn't clamped down on him or anything, which is nice to see. Quinn Theo literally blew up over the MrBeast drama. Same with Cam Nuggets. In the past few weeks, they've blown up. Well, not past few weeks, past few months. Since like June, they've like gone from like nobody knows them to like getting decent views every week. I think some bread tubers are paid by Progressive Victory, and I personally think Hassan is paid off by Hamas. Well, I don't think Hassan's paid off by Hamas. The thing is, I don't really like Hassan, but it's clear to see why his content appeals to the people it does. For bread tubers, I mean, some of them are definitely paid off, I think, but not all of them. And the thing is, it's not like, for political stuff, obviously there's like astroturfing that does happen, but I don't think the majority of bread tubers are paid off. There might be a few of them that get some funding for political stuff, but the thing is, they still grew their channels from scratch. They just also have a political party funding them because they want to win, Wendigoon in chat says, when I started YouTube in 2020, everyone told me it was too late. Yeah, people have been saying it's too late to start a YouTube channel since like, I remember people saying this in like 2015, and that's just not the case at all. That's like a completely defeatist mindset. It's not real.
I think you can be driven by a lot of things. I deeply, deeply enjoy building businesses. I also deeply enjoy data and analytics, and I deeply enjoy making content. So it's kind of like weird when people put it where it's like, which one is it? And I'm like, why can't it be all? It's like asking like, if you have 3 kids, which one do you love? You know what I mean? And you're like, I just kind of love them all.
The boy.
Yeah. But no, it's like, I've been doing this since I was 11. I'm 26 now, which is crazy. I just turned 26, so I'm like 14 and a half years into this, and I mean, every year I get more and more fired up. I don't see a world where I'm stopping. And
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like I get to make content right now. In the first 12 months of an upload, we average 250 million views on a video.
Okay.
So every piece of content.
You don't have to. This is upsetting me, dude. Come on.
I'm saying it more as to give context.
Right.
It's just like I can make content and like 3% of the world will watch it every video, and so why, and so then when you ask me like, do you see yourself ever not doing this? I'm like, no, this is awesome. Yeah. I can literally speak to like literal percentage points of humans breathing on this rock and with every video I upload. Like that's fucking rad. No one has ever been able to do that. And so, and it's also like just fun to travel and do different things. Like one video we're comparing $1 hotel to $1 million hotel room, which is kind of cool. The next
I remember he says he wants to do YouTube forever. I feel like MrBeast just wants to do YouTube as like a vehicle for other things though, forever. Like I remember him talking about how he wants to fucking be president eventually, right? I'd imagine with the controversies he's having now, that might be kind of hard, although, politicians have had much worse allegations and proven shit happen to them and they succeed anyway. I mean, look at Trump. He's got a bunch of salacious stuff that's happened in the past. He was president, he might win again. So I feel like that kind of stuff doesn't really matter that much. Maybe he will be president someday. That would be crazy if a YouTuber became president. Actually, you know what? At this point, if in 20 years a YouTuber becomes president, it wouldn't be that shocking to me. Because YouTube is like, it's not even, like the idea of being a YouTuber isn't even like what it used to mean, It used to be like this very silly thing. Now it's like, if you're a YouTuber, you're just an entertainer. You're just like a minor celebrity or possibly a real celebrity, depending on what level of fame you're at,
Building 100 wells, and I'm going to Zambia, Kenya, and like South Africa and all these places I've never been. I'm like, oh, it's like cool to travel and see and help people. And then other videos, you guys are all coming here. We had 50 of the biggest creators, and like it's fun. Like
this was a fun day.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan was an actor.
But it's funny because I think I'm like the.
I remember like The Rock talked about how some political party approached him. I assume the Democratic Party. Just because they're more like these days, they're more like a kind of, PC brand friendly kind of approach they have, but The Rock said that he got approached by a political party to run. And honestly, I think if he ran, he might win is the thing, I think he might. I feel like the era of like politicians being politicians might be over for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if the next president, after Trump and Harris, I wouldn't be surprised if the Democratic candidate is like Olivia Rodrigo. I don't know. Not that she's old enough, but like the media apparatus is so big at this point. The amount that publicity and like social media influence matters is so big. I think that it's really going to be a game of celebrities becoming politicians in the future.
Mirror opposite.
Yeah, Mark Cuban, he might run for president. It's kind of insane.
Of you, because I moved away from Austin, which is where the business was all happening. Like I came to Austin for work, to grow, to make connections and all that.
The Rock wouldn't win. Hey, you never know. Everybody said Trump wouldn't win. They said he would never win. He fucking won, dude. He was the president for 4 years. Like I think it could totally happen.
And I'm back in New York now, where I grew up.
Never say
never. Just kind of chilling, and it's like, man, I feel like I don't have the same hunger that I used to have, and I think in part it's because the more success I get personally now, the worse my life becomes outside of work. Does that make sense?
I'm sure a ton of sense. I'm sure it's if you want work-life balance, this is not the place. Yeah, I mean. If I wanted even a shred of work-life balance, it would be horrible. So I feel that, and that's the thing. It's not for everyone though. It doesn't mean you're like there's anything wrong with you. It's just like some people don't want to just wake up every day and just obsess over building a YouTube channel. Like I mean, it's.
I still obsess. That's my problem. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do after YouTube is like.
Why has it got to be after?
Well, in terms of like it being my job, right? I love the idea.
I kind of disagree with what MrBeast said. I think you can do YouTube and have a healthy work-life balance. I think you can. I think it's very possible. But if you want to be the greatest, you do need to just like obsess over it. But that's the case in any like industry like this. If you want to be the greatest lawyer of all time, you're probably not going to have a healthy family life. You're probably going to be an obsessed person who spends your entire life fucking just like gooning on the internet, or like gooning in like, law books, right? You're going to be in court all day. You're going to be talking to clients, right? If you want to be the best at anything, you're probably going to be sacrificing a lot of your personal sanity and your personal life in general for that goal, if you want to be the greatest at anything. Art Chad made a video talking about YouTubers. He said something interesting about how the internet used to be a small niche, but now it's everywhere. Nothing will exist outside the internet. Yeah. The internet is, unfortunately, in a lot of ways, real life now. It's a lot of the time it's like a shitty reflection of real life. Like Twitter is not, an accurate reflection of world events most of the time. And, YouTube videos are usually not an accurate reflection of world events, but like people live so much of their life online. I think a lot of it is just directly reflected in content.
Idea of making videos as long as I live, like, again, like that's all I ever wanted to do. Yeah. But once it becomes the job, I think you cross into a totally new way of having to look at it. You can't take a break.
No, I really can't. No.
You can't.
But I also just believe, like, why though? Why can't people take a break, right? Are people actually living below their means? Like a couple of years ago, I used to live in like a duplex that was like $700 a month in rent, and I didn't spend much. I didn't need a car or any of that kind of stuff. I just was like making videos. And so like if you're living below your means, you're not spending ridiculously outside of content, then like, like you can live pretty easily on a couple $1,000s a month, if you're really just okay with not having extravagant things. I did it for a while, and it's just like then the pressure isn't as extreme, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's another variable people need to like factor in, you know what I mean? Not you, but you know what I mean? To these people who are struggling with that, like getting it where you don't have to crank the treadmill up so quickly to maintain your lifestyle, because obviously if you're not enjoying the speed, then eventually it'll fuck you.
Dude, I heard the podcast you did with Colin and Samir recently, where you were like, man, I'm in a country where I don't even speak the language, and they heard I was here, and hotel is...
I feel like for that prior point, I think it kind of depends on what's important to you or what you want to be important to you, For some people, what's important to them is just success at any cost, just like being the greatest at any cost. This is like an ebb and a kind of game of tug of war I have to play with myself when it comes to YouTube stuff of like, I could just sink every minute of every day into YouTube and I probably would be, a little bit better at it. I think I probably would be. If you're spending more time on the computer, you're probably going to be the fucking GOAT. But the problem is like, if that disappears, what the fuck do you have? If the YouTube, fucking machine slows down, if you fall off, what do you have outside of that? Like, what is your even reason for existence outside of that, but on the other hand, like if you have like a great personal life, you're probably going to see all of these other people on YouTube who don't have one and are just grinding the fuck away, and you're going to be jealous of them. You're going to be like, fuck, what if I just did that? What if I was more successful, You always want what you don't have. You tug yourself. No, I get tugged.
Getting broken into, and people are going up and down the hallways trying
crazy.
to see me.
It was in Peru, yeah.
And it's like, dude, I think I'd rather die than
those are some of
deal with that.
Yeah. Those are some of the moments where I'm like, okay, maybe I regret my decisions in life.
Well, fuck, you're in too deep now.
Oh, of course,
you
yeah.
can't stop it now.
Well, as I'm like getting escorted down like the kitchen elevator, and then I get in a car and I'm staring at my feet because if I look up as we're driving out of the hotel, and there's just like people like banging on the window, like, is that his car? I don't leave my studio because like obviously like in the last 90 days we've had 800 million unique viewers on the channel. Almost 1 in 10 people on the planet have watched a MrBeast video in the last 90 days. So it's like, when I walk in a Walmart, like if I walk past 5 people, one of them's gonna recognize me. And then the problem is they take a story, and then their friends drive, and their friends drive, and
and that's you at 250 something million.
Yeah.
I at 4 million, and I'm like, fuck, like
I'd say you're probably around the sweet spot where a lot of people recognize you, but it's not too crazy. Like, how often do people follow you home?
I personally feel so weird getting recognized. It doesn't happen that much, Keep in mind, I'm not even like, I'm not even like 1% as popular as MrBeast, I'm not. But when I get recognized in public, it like, I'm always nice about it, but I'm just very awkward. Like, I don't know how to, especially if I'm like with my friends and someone's like, oh, Turkey Tom, I'm always like, oh, fuck. Like, the internet is also real life. Like, there's real people out there watching me, and I always feel so awkward about it, Because I guess from my perspective, I'd like to have some separation between the internet and real life. I'd like to be like, okay, I log off and then I do my, real life stuff, But it always just, it just like gives me a really weird feeling of like, fuck, I'm like a YouTuber or something, It just gives me a strange, it's like, it's almost like a sense of deja vu or something. Maybe that's not the wording for it. I don't know. It's like a record scratch, when I'm hanging out with my buddies and we go to a restaurant, and once in a while somebody there will be like, oh, you're that guy. I'm like, oh, fuck. It's all real. It's all fucking real, It's always a strange feeling. Like when I hung out with JonTron, that guy, everywhere he fucking goes, every single place he goes, he gets recognized. He took me to like a NASCAR race because his buddy's a NASCAR driver. He got recognized like 10 times. We went to McDonald's. Everybody there knew who he was. I think we were driving at one point and somebody was like, JonTron. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy just gets recognized constantly, I obviously I want more YouTube success, but I don't envy that position of everybody just constantly being like, oh, you're the guy. Like, holy shit, man. It's crazy.
Your car.
And a lot of the people who walked up to him and saw him, they didn't even know who he was JonTron. They were like, oh, you're the meme guy. They were like, you're the meme guy. Like this one like awkward dude we were walking with, or not walking with, we were walking into like the race, and this guy came up to him. He's like, oh, I know you. You're the guy that says what on the internet. And I was like, that's crazy. To walk up to someone and say that is crazy. You're that one guy from that one clip I saw. Take a picture with me.
Thankfully, I've never had that happen.
I think that's like, I didn't have that happen either when I was sub 10 million, but it just, you get to a point where the bigger you get, people seeing you, they just don't think you're human the bigger you are, which is a weird phenomenon. It's not as bad on YouTube because they see us in the videos and relate to us. For people who don't show their personality, like, it's even worse, like the non-human nature. But the bigger you get, the more it's like people won't believe I met this person, right? Like, and so they'll go through extreme lengths to like take a photo or prove that they met you, because no one will ever believe it, right? It's like when I was 10, if I went to school, it's like, I met PewDiePie. Bro, people would be like, shut up. Like, you're just lying. And I'm like, no, I met him at Walmart. And like, people would be like, actually shut the fuck up. Like, we don't care. Like, you did not meet him. And it's also like, I've seen people, like, I'll take a photo with someone, especially younger, like mid-teens, and then they'll show their friends. Their friends will freak the fuck out, going, holy shit. And so it's like a really big deal. Like, and it's like,
I'd be too nervous to approach someone like that. Yeah, you can tell when someone's nervous, because sometimes somebody will they'll look at, like if I'm like at the cash out at the register of like a fucking if I'm at the register of like, let's say a grocery store, this has happened a couple of times where somebody will recognize me, but they'll look at me, they'll like look down, they'll like do a double take and be like, they'll like look at me really closely, and I'm like, oh fuck. And I don't want to be like, hey, it's me, because like, you know, it seems weird, you know. But I can kind of tell something's going on, and I'm like, what's going on here? And eventually they'll be like, are you the guy? And I'm like, yeah. That's me, bro. What's up? Oftentimes it's at a place like Zoomies or something like that.
Could be like the coolest thing that happens to them for like the next month or two. And so that's why they go through like such extreme lengths to get a photo. And if they can't, they'll like follow you around.
It makes sense, kind of.
It does.
When you try and look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But fuck.
No, but it doesn't make it less brutal. I'm like a zoo animal in public. You know, I am. Because it's like a weird thing, because this is the thing I always have to remind myself. Even if I've already taken 200 photos in that Walmart, like the 200, like that next person doesn't know. And it's not their fault. I've already taken so many, and I have to, and all they're gonna remember is like that 5-second interaction, what I say and how I am, and I, you know, and I just think back to like if I was 15 and I bumped into PewDiePie, I'm not gonna, you know, and he's like, hey, no, and walks away. I'm not gonna be like, oh, he probably took 200 photos, this. I'm gonna be like,
wow, what a fucking asshole.
Felix.
You just ruined my life.
Yeah, and I'd be sad, and so I always put myself in their shoes, and which makes it work, and which is why I just don't like to go out in public much, because when I am, I try to always be on good behavior, and you know, because I know it's going to be a big deal to them.
Do you miss being able to go out and do things like a normal person?
No, I literally never did. No, I've always just worked. I mean,
fair enough. We are very different people, brother.
I can't stand that shit. I never.
You can't stand going out and doing things.
I hate it.
This is such an interesting part about him, right? Like he's not like normal. Like MrBeast, I mean, I guess it's obvious to say, but like he doesn't like going to dinner. He doesn't like going to like a place with his friends. He doesn't like any of that shit. The only thing he likes is YouTube. And you know, I can say definitely like I'm pretty obsessed with YouTube. I like it a lot, you know. A lot of the time when I'm out and I'm doing other stuff, I will have it in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about it. But like I still enjoy hanging out with friends. I still enjoy like connecting with people. I still enjoy going to dinner with my family. But he hates everything except YouTube. It's like he's literally the Whiplash guy, but for YouTube. Prophet of D's here. I'm about to lose my mind, but I still bring you the nut of the day. You know, screw it. It's goat balls today. Thank you very much. I appreciate your goat balls donation. I'll be eating that tomorrow.
Yeah, I get like deep anxiety from not working and being out of the studio.
That's the coffin of Andy and Lele guy. I think if somebody did that to me in public, fire would shoot out of my ass and I would shoot through the ceiling.
I can't stand it. I hate going out to eat. I hate going to concerts. I hate doing any of that.
Like he hates it all. This guy's like a psychopath. I mean, maybe that's not the word for it, but it's just like, I don't even know. It's such hyper focus. Doesn't like concerts. Does he even like music or movies? Does he like anything?
I hate going out to eat.
I hate all of it. I hate it so much. It's such like, bro, going out to eat, like it's like 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back. Like that's 30 minutes I could have been cranking out something.
Okay. No, guys, listening, I think maybe we shouldn't be taking advice from
No, you shouldn't. I also like people are just wired differently, and I don't. It's not even like me saying that like I think I have an ego. It's just some people are like this and others aren't, and like just be true to yourself. Like there's a 99% chance if you're listening, you're not wired like me, and it's perfectly fine. Like that's why I don't have too many friends, because you know most people just don't relate to me. Like they just don't. Like they're like, Jimmy, you're a fucking freak. Like
not to get too armchair about it, but do you think his obsession with YouTube is some sort of cope? Like, do you think he dislikes reality and uses work to escape from it or something? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't know about his personal history. Like maybe he went through something really bad. I don't know. Maybe. The thing is, like his reality is YouTube at this point, right? Like that's his entire world that he's built around himself. So I don't know. I mean, I remember listening to podcasts of him and he talked about how bored he was growing up. I think he did have one other passion. I'm pretty sure he said that he was really into baseball when he was younger, and then I think he injured himself or he got Crohn's disease or something, and he couldn't do baseball anymore, so he just obsessed over YouTube. But I think he had like good stats in baseball or something. There's some old picture of him from when he was on like a high school team. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say. Maybe he really just hates the real world and he just only wants to do YouTube. It's hard to say, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
and it's fine. And when I was younger, I would try to be more like normal people. And I mean, it just made me depressed. Like it would make me be like, "Why?"
I don't know what his home life was like. You know, maybe there is some kind of stuff going on there, but I have no idea.
Am I even alive? Like I'm watching South Park, so I relate to people. But like I'm bored. Like this makes me want to kill myself. And I'll do these normal things, and I'll go out to eat and sit there and talk about nothing. And, you know, I did it for a while to fit in, but it's like, to me, that kind of stuff makes me want to die. I love nothing more than
Makes him want to die. Going out to eat, going to concerts makes him want to die. Jesus Christ. I wonder if he's happy. I wonder if he's actually like happy with his life, or I wonder if he's miserable. Wore your hat to a festival a few weeks back. Got a lot of praise. Hope you're having a great week. Glad they liked it. I am. Diesel Patches in chat says, late, but Jar's video reminded me of Jalen and Natty Forsyth. I honestly don't remember if did Jalen make a video about Natty Forsyth, or did Natty Forsyth make a video about Jalen? I honestly don't remember that lore.
than to sit down and grind out a problem, even if it's not my business. If you're trying to, like, I don't know, put a rocket on the moon and there's any way I can be helpful, I would love to sit there and work on that for 4 hours. That sounds awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever random problem there is to solve. I think, too, the closing thing on it is, for me, I just deeply enjoy solving problems. That's what I found. Like, it really doesn't even matter how little it is. Like, I just love solving problems.
Yeah.
I don't know. Which I feel like that is...
I bet he has Asperger's. I don't know. I've met people who have Asperger's. They still like going out to eat and concerts and like having fun, you know? I'm not saying every day of your life should be you know, going to dinner and, you know, going to the Playboy Cardi show. I'm not every second of every day has to be that, but like, you know, I enjoy when I've like worked for a while on YouTube, when I've done like, you know, 2 weeks of work straight, you know, every day. And I'm like, all right, day off. I get to go to a concert, go to dinner with my friends, go for a hike. Like that stuff is like, it's such a nice retreat from what I'm doing. And then also it's like it's just fun, you know? Like it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
Kind of, if you break it down to first principles, is how you describe most entrepreneurs. Because like to build a big business, it's usually you're just solving like a million problems, like 100 a day, and you just do that for a very long time, and eventually, oh, you made it.
You heard it here first, folks. Honestly, I'm not sure I am on the same page with Jimmy about not wanting to go out and get a nice meal after.
No, you guys go eat your nice meals. You guys got them.
Well, we will.
Maybe
We
one
will.
day me and Schlatt will go out for. We won't. I'm sorry. It just won't happen.
Greenville is
Crew,
kind of
remember.
boring anyway.
I wouldn't know. I've never tried.
You don't even know what's around here.
I don't. I can show you around my studio.
All right, well, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we were able to bond over our condom education
Yes,
from Woody's game.
from
today.
Woody.
Well,
Have you done one of these with Woody yet?
I haven't. No, I'm kind of scared of talking to him.
That would be wild.
I've been invited on Painkiller already by Taylor.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I'd love to come on. And then I don't.
I don't think I was never actually like.
You were on the phone. You called in.
Quebo Quap.
I really like that podcast. Those guys are really fun. One of the most fun I've had on a podcast, or some of the most fun I've had in a podcast, rather. My wording is fucked. I think that, you know, I like, you know, serious conversation podcasts where you're, you know, having a deep talk. But that podcast is great because, like, it's just fucking around, you know? It's just having fun with those guys. Really good show. Yeah, super good. Super good. I feel like I get along with Taylor really well.
Was on it, and Quebo is my friend,
Yeah.
and he just was like, Jimmy, jump on. But I wasn't an official guest. That's why it was
Right.
like a 4-hour or whatever episode, and I was like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. I don't think I could do a full 4 hours.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm falling off
crazy.
the rails already. Well,
I'm not, man. Why are these things so short?
we can
Bro, we're
keep
trying
going.
to give kids advice over here.
Okay. Let me ask you one thing.
Yeah.
I get asked a lot by little kids who want to be YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have? What advice do you have if you want to get started?
Let's fucking go.
First of all, I think this
Let
is
me
a
loose.
stupid fucking question.
Let
to
me
ask-
loose.
Well, hold on. Let me do my piece. Because this
Okay.
pisses me off too.
Yep.
What do you mean? How do I get started? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Just make videos.
Yep.
Exactly. Yes, dude. I get so many questions. Like, how do I get started? How do I get started? There's no one piece of advice I can give you that will make you like get started or will like help you with anything. Like, and I don't want to be a dick about it because there's people asking for genuine advice. But like, you just make videos, and if you do it enough, like, you will improve over time. You know, if you're not a retarded person, you will improve over time, and you will, I think, quote unquote, make it. You know, I think you will. Like, you just have to start making content. That's it. Or like people asking about equipment too. Like, equipment is not really that important. You know, just get a cheap mic, use a computer, you'll be fine. That's it. You know, if you need to learn things, you know, go on YouTube and look up tutorials for how to edit. Do you need luck as well? I mean, I don't think luck is really real. I mean, luck is like right time, right place type stuff. But end of the day, like anyone who quote unquote gets lucky and manages to turn that into a long lasting career, there was a lot of preparation that went into it behind the scenes prior to that, you know? Like, you know, people are always like, the sort of like one night success thing, you know, overnight success thing is rarely the case. Usually it's years and years of like, you know, working in a room alone, getting stuff done. And then eventually you have that moment where you capture people's attention in the right way. Wear your hat to a festival, someone just snuck me and knocked me out in a one punch. Sorry, Tom. Base, dude. I think that was deserved for wearing cringe YouTuber merch in public.
And if someone like me is like, oh, well, maybe you should quit. I love telling little kids to quit. Who the fuck am I to tell you don't do it? You're not going to make it. Like, that advice should be a motivator.
I agree with you. If some random dude on the internet telling you to quit makes you quit, then fucking quit, loser.
Yeah. You weren't cut out for it.
Yeah, you are.
You weren't cut out. You're a fucking pussy.
You hit it on the head. Just start making it. And honestly, you should probably just make 100 videos, improve something every time. Like, maybe do a video a week for the next 100 weeks. And then after 100 weeks, ask for advice. But if you haven't done that, then, like, I mean, it's literally like asking an engineer, like, how do I build a bridge? And he'd be like, bro, like, do you even, like, you know what I mean?
The amount of knowledge that is in our brains.
Yeah, I know it sounds dumb, but step one is realizing that our analogy does make sense and work here. And it's just like, you know, through making those 100 videos, a video a week for 100 weeks, you'll learn more about basic things like equipment. You'll learn more about how to edit. You'll learn more about storytelling, about pacing, about inflections in your voice if you do commentary.
That's super, super true. Super duper duper true. I mean, like, you know, a lot of people will, like, say, like, oh, YouTube's an easy job, you know, whatever. And it is, like, you know, relatively speaking, once you learn the basics of it and, like, once you get some kind of, like, modicum of quote-unquote success, it is, like, an easy job procedurally, you know? Like, my life is much easier than, like, somebody's working construction or working in an Amazon warehouse, you know, undoubtedly. But it's, like, you know, the reason why not everybody that just starts on YouTube blows up right away is because it takes time. You got to put time into it to figure it out, you know? And there's a lot of, like, stuff you learn along the way. When you can't sleep at the end of the night because you feel like you could always do more and do better, you're getting there. Yeah, that's my problem. That's why I can't sleep. My brain is just going. It got better when I started working out, but still a problem now and then, you know? When I started working out, I slept like a fucking baby. I'll say that.
You'll learn more about titles, thumbnails. You'll learn more about how to entertain people, blah, 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 this, blah, blah, that. It's just like, it's a lot of traits, right?
I have a video on
Tom, if you're still up to debate, I'll play the bad guy, but you've got to wear the chicken nugget shirt. I don't want you to play the bad guy. I want you to be the guy who disagrees with me. I'm wearing the chicken nugget shirt already. Don't you worry. I'll wear it forever. Thank you for the 5, though.
this channel called 8 Years. You can look and watch it if you're interested. That's how long it took me to make money on YouTube at a consistent level. It took 8 years of me running around the house with my middle school buddies doing finger guns, putting little muzzle flares on it and shit, and then doing GTA 5 races and all that.
I hate to cut you off, but I got you beat. I started at 11. I don't think I made real money till I was almost 20. Yeah.
It takes a while, and if you're at year 0 asking, man, I don't know if I'm motivated enough to do it, don't even fucking
picture in your head of someone holding a baseball bat and you're like a baseball, and me just going.
It is one of those things where you kind of have to like enjoy it despite the fact you're just screaming into the void, you know? I remember for the longest time when I was doing YouTube, I didn't make money, you know, at all. You know, for a long time, I didn't get any views, you know? My first videos had like maybe 60 views after a week, you know? And I kept doing it, you know, because I was obsessed with it, you know, because I just like, for some reason, I just had this autistic obsession with YouTube, you know, it was a passion. And I mean, now it's evolved to the point it's my job. Obviously there's other motivations there, but at first it was just like, I want to do it because I like it.
Gone and hitting you really far away.
Yeah.
You want to play baseball? You got a Yankees
I would hit some balls. I would hit some balls with you.
Yeah, we should go ball hitting.
I heard you don't like doing that, though.
I do.
Oh.
They just don't give me time off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's they?
Me.
Wow, extremely dark to find out that JSchlatt apparently touched his balls. Damn. 16-year-old Squeaker Tom was peak. I mean, it was definitely a moment.